Here is Essential English Daily Pod, and I'm Sara.
Hey everyone, and first of all, very Merry Christmas. And since we're literally just a few days away from 2026, let me be the first to say it. Happy New Year! Yeah, happy almost 2026 to you. I know a lot of you are probably watching this while traveling or, sitting in an airport or pretending to relax during the holidays. But here's the thing. Even on vacation, language is not something you completely turn off. 10 minutes a day still matters. Alex actually wanted to be here today, but he's currently in Miami. Beach, sun, no responsibility. Hope he is having a great time and he comes back to us soon. So today, it's just me and a special guest. Quick reminder before we start. Our previous episode was about alternatives to Merry Christmas. Link is up here and in the description. And on this channel, Alex and I talk about real, practical English. Not perfect English, not textbook English. Also, friends, honest moment. YouTube is still figuring out who we are. So if you enjoy this episode, please subscribe. And maybe send it to one person who needs English. That support really helps us keep going. Okay, let's begin. Today's guest is Helena. She's 55 years old, English is not her first language, and she started learning English at 45. When people say she started late, we mean late compared to the social norm, not late for life. Helena, welcome. I'm really happy you're here.
Thank you, Sara. I'm really happy to be here. And, a little nervous, but I think nervous is okay. It means I care.
It really does. So let's talk about that word, late. When people hear started at 45, they immediately think too late. How do you see it now?
I don't see it as late anymore. I see it as later than society expects. Society wants you to learn languages when you're young, in school, fast, perfectly. But life doesn't really work like that. I started at 45, not because I was slow, but because that's when my life finally had space.
That's such an important point. Late compared to a system, not late compared to your own life.
Exactly. My brain at 45 was not broken. It was just different. Actually, maybe better in some ways.
So, what pushed you to start? Why English?
At first, it was travel. I wanted to travel and not feel small, Not just order food, but understand people. And then movies. I love movies. One day, I was watching a film and I thought, I don't want subtitles forever. When you get older, you spend more time with yourself, You read more, you watch more, you think more. English was always there, and I was always kind of outside of it.
That's such an important point. Late compared to a system, not late compared to your own life. That feeling of being outside, so many people relate to that.
Yes. Books, too. I wanted to read books in original language because translation is beautiful, but not real. I think I said that wrong, but you understand me. See? I continue.
And that moment right there is everything. You didn't stop. You didn't panic. You just kept going.
Because I learned something important. Confidence doesn't come from being correct. It comes from continuing,
That deserves a pause. A lot of learners think fluency comes first and confidence later, but it's actually the opposite. All right, so far we just talked about the motivation of starting. Here is the question I bet everyone was waiting for this moment and this question. So Helena, tell us, how did you actually get so strong in English? Did you focus more on speaking or writing or listening or what? What worked best for you,
That's a good question. I think, actually, I focused on a bit of everything. But if I had to choose, I would say speaking. Because, speaking is scary. You make mistakes, you feel judged, but it's also the fastest way to build confidence. So in my opinion, and I want to say this clearly, I'm really not an expert, I'm just sharing my personal experience, the prerequisite for speaking well in a non-native language is listening a lot and observing a lot. I listened to podcasts in English whenever I could, even when I did the dishes or when I wanted to sleep. Besides, I watched movies in English too, at first with subtitles for a few months. And believe me, in the beginning, I didn't understand much. And that was for 2 reasons. Tell us the reasons, Helena. Well, first, I hadn't found the right level for myself. I needed to choose movies, series, or podcasts that matched my level so I could actually follow along. But still, even if I didn't understand everything, watching movies helped my accent a lot because it showed me the acts of mouth when I want to pronounce the words. But still, I think it wasn't a good choice because of their English level.
Please wait, Helena. Sorry to interrupt you, but it might be a question and also a challenge for our audience to how could they find out their English level? Well, good news is, even with ChatGPT, you can find your English level out, but for being sure, it's better to ask an English teacher. All right, Helena, let's go on. You said there were 2 reasons which you couldn't understand podcasts and movies much enough. The first one was you didn't choose the ones which matches your English level, and the second one...
Well, and second, I was still at the very beginning. I couldn't expect too much from myself. I had to go slowly and find the path step by step. Again, speaking from personal experience, my recommendation is choose podcasts or movies where you understand about 70 to 80% of the content and 20 to 30% is new or a little difficult. It should be slightly above your current level. That small stretch is exactly what helped me improve. Consistency is key. Little by little, your brain adapts and you naturally improve in speaking, listening, and accent.
Wow! Just in some minutes before, not only motivated us, but also told us useful technique. You recommend us to find out our level, then find podcasts and movies which 70 to 80% match us.
Absolutely, but stop trying to be perfect. Try to be clear. That really changed everything.
Wow, I think you really did English learning very well. Congratulations! Helena, it's been 10 years since you started practicing English. You started at 45, which is amazing. When did you feel like, okay, I can stop studying. I'm really fluent now?
Honestly, I don't think you ever really stop. I'm still making mistakes right now, which means I should try harder. But look, I'm still talking. People still understand me. That's fluency for me. Language is a continuous process. It never ends. But, after a while, you reach a point where you feel comfortable, confident. You can speak, understand, and enjoy it.
I think English is not an exam for you, Helena. It's a tool, right?
Totally agree. And I think it should be for everyone.
And the last question? If someone is watching this thinking, I'm too old,
I would say, finish the sentence. I'm late to what? Compared to a system that was never built for you? You're not late for life. You're right on time for your life. And slow progress is still progress.
That's the perfect place to end. To everyone watching, if this helped you even a little, please subscribe and share it with someone before 2026 starts. We'll see you in the next episode, and hopefully Alex will be back from Miami.